Like the money thing. People don't know how valuable they are. They're like, there's boats and there's cars and there's the military industrial complex and the pharmaceuticals, and we're guilty because we want to buy more bananas or some nice running shoes that are like $120, or live in a nice home, or buy this great food, you know, or buy essential oils and have a nice house and a nice car, and we're so bad and guilty and we can't afford it, and all these women and all these men, I can't afford it. And I'm just sick of that. Like, I've been working on my financial blueprint for a long time. Everything's connected to this, those blocks. And for me, they come right back here in the back of my brain. And they were formulated at the time that I was from the time that I was conceived within the womb. And that's why I'm very adamant about the women and the men getting on point about, you know, if you're gonna have kids, don't be an idiot. Don't keep passing on the unhappiness, the lies, the confusion, and let's sing to the children. Let's eat the real food without chemical poisons and do it in a natural way as much as possible, so that we can, you know what I'm saying? Like I bet you everybody here is working on stuff. Is anybody walking on water? Does anyone have a bad day every once in a while? You know what I mean? Does anyone ever feel like guilty or ashamed or not good enough? Does anyone ever feel not good enough?
Yeah.
Is there anyone here who always feels good enough all the time? So, you know, but I mean, you know, there's certain people that just, that doesn't get passed on to you. But in general, you'll look around at humans and you'll see that there's not a lot of really awake people. Because, and I'm just as guilty as anybody, I'm coming out of it now to where I'm looking forward to that which is unpleasant. Now, why would I do that? Because all that which is unpleasant is some kind of unconscious resistance to the facts, to what is. And if I can't be with what is, no matter what it is, then I can't really be truly alive and awakened. I can only accept part of life when it's pleasant, or when it's the way I want it to be, or when things are going my way. Then I can be awake and alive and joyful. But what I've learned is that there is a diffusion of pain, confusion, when you sit there with it. And in fact, I resisted pain that I believe came through a traumatic experience probably around the age of 3. And I shut my heart off. And I buried that pain and I kept it there. And I was up in my head and I was running around and I was saying a lot of things and I was making videos and I was cool and I was relatively nice, but I was never there with anybody because I couldn't do that. My heart was closed off, and I was getting a healing session with this young lady and I could not receive love. I could give love all day long. I guess that might have been what made me good at my job. And every time I would baptize myself in a river or a lake, I would think of other people unconditionally loving you. But then there was one person I forgot to love unconditionally, and now I'm working on that. That was this guy. He would always think, when I would baptize myself, I would think of you, loving other people, being the love, but I forgot about myself, that I needed to unconditionally love myself. And so there was some experiences that happened that just opened up like there was this, I saw in this vision that my heart and my whole core was like charcoal. And it was all black in there, afraid to let anyone in because I could not allow there to be that, abandonment again. You know, when a 3-year-old child gets abandoned by its mom, it sounds all dramatic. You know, it's pretty, but not cool. And he, never again. No, I'm never letting anybody love me again. That's never going to happen. So there's this hard charcoal. But during that vision that I had on this healing experience, I also saw that there was about a 1/4 inch of gold over the top of my whole body. So I had saw that all that I had done in my life with the reading of the books, the meditation, the raw foods, spirituality, the loving and serving others to the best of my ability, had created this golden exterior. Yet while inside, only the people that were closest to me knew that they couldn't penetrate my heart and really be there with me, you know? And all these things happened, divinely orchestrated, of course, and extremely painful for, you know, a short amount of time. I mean, when I talk about 2 months, that's not really that prolonged period of adversity. When you're talking about like changing your diet or something like that, you're talking about like, you're talking years. It took me almost 13 years to get 100% raw, comfortable, no tripping. Steamed vegetables, I finally got over that. I got over soups. It was just always vegetables or something, or baked potatoes while stressed out on the road, and now I'm just 100% raw, and it's nice. But it took me 13 years. So that's more prolonged adversity, because when I read the Gospel of Peace, it was like, go raw. Go eat the living food, and all the food that you eat that is cooked, frozen, and rotten will cook, freeze, and rot your body also. Certain things resonate with me, and that just brought a light. And the other statement that I remember besides cooked, frozen, and rotten foods, cooked, freezes, and rots your body, was a statement that was that to fast and pray until the Lord of the house returns. I got that as well. In other words, fast and pray until your true self arises. And some of you from the videos probably understand the essence of where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to improve my running time here. This is awakening, awakening, awakening. True, real human being. Do you know how rare we are? And so if you're a video watcher and you are getting that essence and you don't hate me or resist me, then you have that in you as well. In this life or the next, you are the future enlightened ones who want the truth. The truth, the real truth, the hard truth, the ones that makes your heart feel heavy because your ego is like, whoa, this is not within my comfort zone paradigm conditioning, And so when I had that golden covering, but then there was the heart cracking open. And then for about 2 months straight, there was a release of all that pain of 36 years of congestion. And it was very uncomfortable. And there were quite a few sleepless nights. And there was fear. Fear just pouring out. And you know what? I knew that, and this is what woke me up to the fact that only by being with that, whatever it is, will it diffuse. If it's buried with food, if it's buried with sex, if it's buried with entertainment, if it's buried with distractions of one type or another, and believe me, I was the king of distractions, and the distractions become less and less as you evolve, as you give up the drugs, right? Then you give up the beer, then you give up the news magazines, then you give up the TV. Pretty soon you start to, I was watching Game of Thrones for the last time, and I was like, oh my God. After 1 minute, the dude gets his hand cut off, and I had just come from the nature where I was doing a bunch of emotional freedom technique, purifying, and then I come back from the nature and put in the Game of Thrones to just keep going on that little habit. Game of Thrones and a big salad. Too many avocados, Like, all right, adrenaline. I just was like, I can't. And then there was anger and stuff too, and I realized, wow, I'm just putting this crap into me, and I'm done. I don't think I've even observed the violence. I just don't do it, I mean, a little bit, but if it gets to be too much, but it'd be better to have none perhaps, but anyways, the Game of Thrones, that was enough. I was just feeding myself, and there was anger and violence within me, and it was coming, you get more and more sensitive, and what are you putting in to yourself? And not only that, I was the master of putting in with the Dr. Hawkins books and the CDs and the DVDs and saturation of positive. And that's why I became a pretty good teacher on the YouTubes, because I would listen to the same beautiful spiritual audio programs over and over. And that's a good thing, but not at the expense of the release, And so, but also at the same time with the saturation technique, what you're doing there, especially if they're high energy fields like Dr. Hawkins or Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or whatever it is what your trip is, where you get to go to that higher place out of our mundane day job, stuff, where we can get into those higher fields. I mean, that's the thing. Get into the highest field of energy you can stand and stay there as much as possible through that saturation technique. And everyone here has a different level of consciousness vibration. I can go to these very high places and I don't have to resist it because it's all pure light to me, but some people might not dig that. So they can't go to that level. But that higher level saturation technique to where you are constantly programming yourself with those higher frequencies. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all vibration. We're all vibrational beings, and I think that what we want to do is remove those blocks to the true self. The vibration, the core vibration, the source vibration is all the same. I call that God. In the nature, you get to pick that up pretty well. And then you just can release those blocks, and then it grows and grows. And the more that it grows, and you allow to grow and remove those blocks, the lighter and freer and more happy and joyous you will be, because we get to that love. Then if we continue to do the work, we can get to that field of unconditional love for ourselves and everyone else. And then we can get into states of joy, bliss, ecstasy, and then the peace that passes understanding, which sounds good to me. I've had a war within, and it's still there. It gets slighter and slighter because I quit. I don't need to keep attacking myself. The mind does that, you know. It has all kinds of criticisms, and yours are different than mine, you know. And so my intention in the future here is to just continue to work in whichever capacity that I can. Obviously, I have a great platform, so to help people get free, to create more peace, more joy, more happiness, more abundance. That's a big thing. I'm focused on that right now. Because you get a lot of flack, like especially if you're on YouTube. Why? Because people are broke and they're more than likely going to stay that way. Why? Because they've been programmed with poverty. And I'm just not into poverty. It's like, dear God, we're unlimited in everything else but the money. I'm not worth that. That money's the root of all evil. And I'm just a sellout, right? No, but you know what I do with money? I give it to people on the side of the street. I buy my kids good stuff. I mean, I don't need it, except that I love to give and have tools to work with. So I'm blessing myself with financial abundance. But it's not just financial abundance. But that's the way this world is. But an abundance is abundance. An abundance of health will translate over into an abundance of finances. An abundance of finances and health will translate over into an abundance of a love flow in your relationships, you know? So we're clearing the blocks to the divine flow of the source energy. Does anyone here love the source itself? Yeah? That's the core and the source of yourself. Yeah, I call it God. I'm sure everyone here has different ways they like to say it. But I think if you're eating better, and you may not know this, for those of you that didn't raise your hand, if you're eating better, you are, in one way or another, trying to connect with that source energy more. Because the food doesn't give you energy. But I'll tell you, there are certain foods that will take it away from you. And you'll find out, that's where I defer. That's why I had Trip Edition coming. I'm like, I don't fit in here to the 80-10-10. Because I like to eat less. And the less I eat, the better I feel. That may change one day, but it's my intuition it wants to clear all these blocks and get you back. And it wants you to fast and to pray until the Lord of the house returns. The source of life, light, energy in you knows exactly what it's doing. And it's calling every single one of you, and it's calling everyone. Nothing like a good cheeseburger, a bud joint, and a bottle of whiskey to totally get that voice out of your heart. To stop that voice from calling you home to itself. Love is looking to perfect itself in you. And so if you're on the food trip and you're trying to feel better, you are, in one way or another, on the path to enlightenment. Because if you didn't care, you would still be out there. You would just eat what everyone else is eating, what society's telling you to eat, the money makers. I think everybody eats too much. That's just me. Because when I drink like a few jars of juice a day, just for hydration and minerals, Yeah, I'm skinny. My energy is on point. Sleep for 4 or 5 hours, get up, laser sharp meditations. The minute you start eating those big salads again with tons of avocados and spices and stuff and the nuts, you know what I'm saying? Things that, you know, it's a little bit slower. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong or right. It's just that until we get to that place where we have like awakened all of our energy centers, chakras they're called, and until that energy is flowing through the meridian system, and you are, I call it the complete healing, to honor Arnold, to honor Arnold Ehret. He called it that. You know, or just the Lord of the house returns is how Jesus referred to it. In other words, your true self. Parasites are everywhere. They get in your brain, they harbor up in your shoulder blades, they get in your kidneys, they love your GI tract, they love sugar, they love the waste matter. They live off that, and they send signals to your brain, and they say, give me sugar, give me bread, give me all this stuff. And to get those out of there is hard work. And to make peace with your unconscious programming, not good enough. I mean, your mom, they think it's you come out, okay, now the baby's born 9 months old, now we can start programming. Ha 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 ha. This little child is already done programmed. Whatever mama was feeling, whatever dad was saying, it's already there. From day one, the father should be like, you are a champion. I love you. I can't wait till you come into this world. You know how many unwanted children there are? Probably half of us, our mom was like, I don't know. I do this. So we're not really like most of them. My mom was 16 years old, man.
Wow.
On drugs. My dad was violent. I mean, so that's why I have compassion. I wouldn't trade anything anymore. I want to get more okay with, like, I want to be 100% okay with who I am. And I honestly have to say I'm not quite there yet, you know? But I'm definitely closer today than I was yesterday. And being okay, 100% okay with who I am. The dark side, like, let's get freaky, you know? And then the light side of, oh Lord, you know, purify my heart and use me for the benefit of mankind. And take away the small little Dan story and be the big God in my heart. And use me for your will. And let me and my petty wants and desires be relinquished. For your will be done. You know? Because if God's will be done in you, and then there will be harmony and peace and flow and abundance, and seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and everything else. Why? Because if you seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, your energy will expand. Like, in other words, well, I really need to stop hating these black people or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that still in the world. Or I really need to, like, quit thinking that everyone who has money is a jerk. Because some people have money and are jerks, and some people have money and they do really awesome stuff with it. So we got to relinquish our prejudices, our judgments, our opinions. Oh God, the heavy burden of opinion. Like, I get on YouTube and I rap, but if someone says, you know, whatever, well, no, I still have an ego too. So I see that, Dan, you are this, and you're wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And then, ooh, you know, I can still feel it. But it's getting less and less. Like, I'm not going to go and, like, get in a fist fight with somebody because they have a different opinion than me. And the amount of energy I want to put into defending my position, I mean, this is just one little thing. And so when it flows through me, it's only flowing through me. Like, the best videos are the ones where I don't have an objective, which I do because it's a business now too, and a lot of ways I have business partners and that type of thing too. But so the best videos are the ones where I like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to say, and they just flow through me. But yet my left brain is like, dude, this is not content. This is not linear content of teaching them how many apples need to go in a lemon ginger blast. It's the essence, though, that is the power. It's not how many apples in a lemon ginger blast is going to change your life. It's like what this guy has decided to do a long time ago, even before the videos even started, I was already committed to unconditional love and peace and the complete healing. And so the body is very well, and the heart has become so much lighter, and now the mind is the focus of the work. So when went there last night, it's too much. I couldn't, I had to go. It was my vibration couldn't match in that vibration that was there last night at the place. I had to like leave. So, but this is my vibration. Of course, I'm the jabberjaw up here talking about God, but that's my vibration. And the love from your eyes is feeding me in a way that I like to be filled and fed, and I so much appreciate you for that. So I had a point, but I will say that I hope that you are blessed with the desire. It's not mine, it's just a desire that got put into me from the gospel of peace, which I was a bodybuilder and eating whey protein and all this crap, and I thought health, but then I saw the gospel of peace, and then I knew what real health was. And to this day I have pursued it. You detox too much. They're not going to get there. You can't detox too much, because this is the real detox. This is the detoxification of your spirit. This is spiritual purification. And the body is directly linked. So there's nothing wrong with fasting on water. There's nothing wrong with fasting on juices. There's nothing wrong with fasting on mono fruits. You know, and there's nothing wrong with cheeseburgers either. But everything has a vibrational essence. And it should be done not like me from the very beginning, like, I am going to do this. And then it was just boom, boom, like God was a giant just slamming me from one side to the other. Now it's more like a little bit, okay, whoa, too many avocados, bring it back. And then I got 3 weeks off. I don't have to go anywhere, do anything, do a juice fast, you know, and then, okay, you better eat again because you're going to Woodstock Fruit Festival and it's just way too much, and you got to have some avocados to buffer the frenetic energy. Couldn't even sleep last year because the fruit, you know, it's just I just, and if you're not doing the earthing and you're not in the nature, and the food like the berries in nature, they got way more minerals. These fruits, yeah, I like good fruit. See what I'm saying? And it's hard to find.
There's blackberries on the campsite.
Yeah.
That's
Grown.
food that if I was a fruitarian, which I am, I would go there to those blackberries.
Don't tell
Those
everyone.
foods are going to be pure in your blood. Those are going to keep you grounded to the earth nature.
But
These,
we do the best we can, you know.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
So-
it. But there's a lot of things that need to be reconsidered as far as the teachings go, understanding on a deeper level. Because if you're eating, I see a lot of people, they go on the 80-10-10, they eat a lot of low mineral fruit, and their teeth start going wacko, and their nervous system starts going bad, and the B vitamins go down, and the nervous system starts tweaking, and the stress starts coming in, and the teeth start falling out, and the hair starts falling out. I take mineral supplements. When I started doing that, I met, you know, I already knew about certain things, but then I met Tavis, and he taught me about the conductivity, and then as I was researching the conductivity, I understood the minerals, and then as soon as I began an in-depth study of the minerals, I already knew about minerals, but I did not really realize what they really are. And now I understand at a much higher level. And so that's the reason why I've done so well for all these years. It was all the green juice, you know? And then, but now I'm on the mineral supplementation. And that really is when everything started to flow and break up. And I could no longer hold that old stuff in me, because it creates frequencies of electricity, and as that energy of electricity is moving through you, those things just, they can't stick there. Those old stagnant energy patterns and vibration. That's why the raw food is awesome, because you're vibrating here, and if you get the best of the best food popping off the trees, it's vibrating up here. It's pulling you up. For the most part, the food that we have, it's either like the best raw foods is like level with you, where you are as a person, for the most part, because most of you are real healthy. But to find that fruit that's coming right off the trees, that's high mineral, high vibrational frequency, to pull you up,
Yeah.
that's why the water fasting does really well, or finding some really high quality fruit and juicing that. And then the green juices, those are just stabilizing mineralizers so that the cells can communicate. You know, the minerals are catalysts to the function of the enzymes, and then the enzymes can communicate, and then the enzymes react with the cells as communicators. So minerals create like a cellular communication frequency within your body. So I take these great mineral supplements, and then everything just started to really change through what I call like synergy. So we're trying to get this broad spectrum. But deep down inside, the source of your energy is there. It's just that we eat so much crap, we think the wrong stuff, and the air is not good, the environments, we don't get to spend enough time out in places like this right here. We're absorbing the, what is it called, just condensed radiation, you know, and you're condensing that and you're becoming this through the pollen and the dirt. And then I become these dirty old leaves, which I want to, because this is the cycle. Or do you want to go into a motel room and breathe the chemicals they're using to clean the countertops, which I do plenty of that as well. You know what I'm saying? So we're condensed radiation.
Oh my god, kill it. What? It's harmless. They're harmless to people.
What is it?
Daddy long legs.
Daddy long legs?
Fear. It manifests itself in many ways. One of them, in a big one way, is the spiders.
But you didn't notice, so I was like, I'm not going to tell her. Because but you had fun on your back. Really.
Did I? Thanks for telling me. Appreciate it.
I'm just shooting all the bugs.
Can I ask you a question or later?
It's time for Q&A. I'm going to say one last thing, though, real quick about the spider, which brought that up.
Oh, okay.
Is that fear is fear. Fear of spiders is fear of crossing the street, is fear of what people think of you. Fear is fear is fear. Let's all relinquish that fear. So I will pray for the one holy light to fill us and ask us to bless us with grace so that we have the courage to relinquish those fears by walking through them. So if I see fear, like, let's do this. I'm like planning things in the future here of things that I'm afraid of, and I'm going to go do that. So that's what I want to do because I'm sick of it, you know? It's a heavy weight. Fear is the block, and love is the power that you seek through the dietary changes and anything else that you do for improvement. It's the love of yourself because the heart is the superconductor of your being. And the fear is what's keeping you from being a 1,000 million megawatt powerhouse. So, this is the food, and it's already in you. No amount of fruits and vegetables or anything. It's just that you habitually need to consume because that's what you're programmed for. And it's better to consume the fruits and vegetables with the high water that pass through the GI tract easily, leaving the least amount of metabolic waste, so that you can slowly but surely, in a balanced way, continue to, through the process of awareness, seeing what's in there, walking through it, letting it go. Because if we don't walk through it, if we don't feel it, if we don't experience it, there will be no diffusion of that energy, and then we will never get free. So have courage, and when it's unpleasant, go right there, be there with it, sleepless nights and all, and be there with it and be excited about how unpleasant it is.
Like watermelon belly.
That, exactly. That's a perfect example. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But then 15 minutes later, you're fine.
How do you let go?
I think you let go, and you're next. I think you let go by being there with it and being okay with how unpleasant the sensation is. This is very, very unpleasant. And yet for another person, no big deal. But for you, it's the worst thing ever because your mom and your dad put this programming into you. Society put that programming in you. So you got to resist this at all costs. You got to resist your attraction to somebody because you're married. So I know what, you know, but why not just be attracted? You don't have to do anything about that, but you can let